Well, good day to you. Look at what I got. Some toys to play with. This is a variable transformer known as the General Instruments Variac. It's a AC variable power supply, for lack of a better word. Although you may not want to get across it sideways, it might give you something to think about. Actually, this one is supposedly broken, but I kind of cheated and peeked at this ahead of time, and what I found was, and we'll use one of our other new toys I got here. This is a very tired, old looking, this is a little Simpson watt meter. It's kind of cool. Weird. So this came out of some TV radio shop. Paramount TV radio shop. Over on B Street. And what this is just a little voltmeter, but it has a watt meter. And interestingly, it does DC voltage, and there's a couple switches on the side change the ranges. It says 0 to 130 and then 0 to 260. So it covers some basic household or basic business, and it goes to 5,000 watts. That's getting up there pretty good. And another little trinket of information. Another little trinket I got was this this Variac, and it's supposed to be. It's kind of weird. I got to looking at this thing. Let me put it back the way I found it. I varied the knob, and nothing happened. But I could hear it start to hum when I kicked it in gear. We'll just use the new toys here. This does work. There we go. So I turned the knob and nothing happened. I didn't think too much of it. And then I got to looking at this thing, and this tiny little bulb came on. Not from the Variac or me not being able to zoom. I don't know if you can see this real well. The legend is wrapped around there, so I turned it, until it got over to about here, and just stopped and didn't think any more of it. Well, I started fiddling around, and I noticed it turns a little bit more, but it stops there, and I thought, well, what's that about? It's like out of calibration or something. And I got to looking at the knob, and I was going to take the knob off, and I was playing with it. Well, I got this dinking around here, and the knob is loose on there. So that's what the deal is. And so if you look over here in the corner, somebody screwed up, threw it away, or gave it away, because the knob was loose. And another interesting little tidbit, when I had this off, I flipped it over, there's like a brand new legend on the other side, screened on the other side. I honestly don't see any difference. So I don't know what this is. It appears to have some set screws. I think they were, what were they, like 16th inch, maybe 8th inch? 8th inch sounds a little big. Anyway, I was looking around the outside, found some, yeah, they're there. So I don't know. And what that clicking is I think it's running into this knob on the wiper. So a mental note, before you toss something out, you may want to be sure you know how it operates. It happens more than you care to admit. And I don't know. Variac nowadays is kind of a hard commodity to, well, not a hard commodity to find, but it's a expensive commodity to find. So let's see if we can, and maybe I can. Yeah, there we go. There's actually 2 set screws here. There's another one here. There we go. So they're both loose on there. Some ones are really loose. That's okay. Get tightened up. Okay. Yeah, there we go. So I got a free Variac. I've got a couple of them, but one more won't hurt. This little watt meter is kind of cool. Yeah, it might. Actually, both these could probably use a good recording. This one's a little shaky and needs a bath, but that's okay. I'm kind of surprised that that label on the other side is in good shape. Could use a Variac for powering up an old radio, like an old tube radio, or actually any old piece of electronics. I know guys though that get a hold of them under the assumption they're going to vary the speed on some motor. That may not necessarily work. Yeah, I'll have to send it back to wherever to get it put back in the box. So a little fixing up there. I don't know. It's kind of old. I mean, it's 2-pronger. And I don't know, somebody built a little snappy base for it. There's no fuse. That's the kind of the downside of the Variac when you're bringing up an old radio, like an old tube radio. Yeah, you can vary the voltage and stuff, but if a short should occur, unlike the dim bulb tester, there's no current limiting. Now, that being said, you could easily build a little buddy box. Or, there may even be enough room to put it in the side. Some of the newer Variacs had a place in the side for a fuse, and you could put a small glass, like a 3AG type fuse, like an old automotive type fuse. And you could put a small one in there, about 1 amp is plenty big for working on old radios. Or you could use it in conjunction with the dim bulb tester. Another thing you could do is put a circuit breaker. You can get a pretty shallow circuit breaker nowadays. You have to do a little digging, but you can find them. I've seen some, 7/10 of an amp ones. They're not super fast, but they might keep you out of trouble a little bit. It would be good if you walked away from whatever you're working on and had it blow up. But there's the Variac. A lot of times you find these are damaged because people have really been abusing them. They're only rated at so many watts. And a small one like that is, I don't know, it's probably rated at about, I'm going to say conservatively 500 watts. Now on the flip side of that coin, they do make some real moose ones. I've got a couple downstairs that are several kilowatts. They used to kind of use them in studio lighting to vary the lighting a little bit, but it's kind of dumb. It varies the temperature, the color temperature of the lighting, so it's kind of defeats the purpose. But there you go. There's an old Variac and an old voltmeter. Actually, somebody probably used that voltmeter in conjunction with that Variac. Now, this is kind of cool. I don't know if this came from the TV place, but at one time, Radio Shack sold Variacs. Anyway, this is cool. This is the I don't know what this looks like at first glance. It's the dynamic demonstrator. It's a lab tool, or a learning lab is what it is. It's a power supply, a tube power supply. It's kind of cool. I might have to sit down and play with this. It's got, you know, a transformer and a tube. That's a rectifier tube. It's a 50Y6 GT. GT is for glass tube, in case you didn't know. Your transformer's over here, and a fuse and a switch and a line cord. This is a little unusual. It's not. This is a pretty close to a typical high voltage power supply in an old radio or a TV or some piece of electronics. Maybe a piece of test equipment. There's a couple little tiny exceptions. One of them being the tube isn't powered from the transformer. It's got its own separate circuit with a resistor. A little weird. But there must have been some reason. Probably so that when you turn the circuit on and off, the tube was heated up. That's probably an instant on circuit. Kind of janky, but that's okay. And then there's these are little pin jacks. And in there is a resistor and a choke and a couple caps and another resistor for a load. This would be a really fun way to, if there was that's funny. I didn't notice that. Electronics in 3D. Yeah, that's true. I lucked out. I got the pin jacks for this. They're just little baby jacks. They plug in there. They're varying lengths of wire. And there probably was a little, when I say a learning or, you know, a lesson plan or something that probably went with this. And I don't know what this is. Something scratched. It was probably property or something got scratched off. So I might have to play with that. This would be a really fun way to learn about tube power supplies. Especially looking at ripple and stuff. I might have to get out the oscilloscope. Take a peek at this baby. It's 300 volt, or it's 650 volt center tap. Kind of packs a wallop. And you could build something and use this. It'd be a little bulby, but that's okay. I don't know, I just thought you'd like to see that stuff. Once again, pays to have the little network of friends with 1,000 eyes. I'm not sure who just dropped this off. It had a note in it, hey, this stuff was getting thrown out, thought you might like it. It could be anybody, you know. Sometimes people drop stuff by. My front porch is kind of like the the old monastery with the baby thing there. People come by and drop orphans off, and I find new homes for them. Or sometimes it's just junk. Okie dokie. Well, I just thought I'd show you that. Thought maybe you'd be interested. Take her easy. Have a groovy day.